Thanks, man.
Woo! Hey everyone, I'm Sav and this is Lagom Eats. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make steak au poivre. Traditionally, this classic French dish is made with filet mignon, but today we're going to be making it with A5 Japanese Wagyu ribeye. You guys all know how much I love my A5. Let's take a look at the ingredients. We're going to be using 4 ounces of A5 Japanese Wagyu ribeye, 1 tablespoon of whole peppercorns, kosher salt to taste, 1/3 cup of brandy, 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, 1/4 cup of beef stock, and 1 tablespoon of butter. Let's get cooking. Of course, you can use any cut of meat that you want. The technique is gonna be pretty similar. But for our Japanese A5, it's very, very fatty. We don't need any oil to grease our pan. If you're using any other kind of beef besides A5, you're gonna want some canola oil to put in the pan. But we are going to cut off a little bit of our fat just to grease the pan. Just a little bit off here, we don't need much. Now we're going to season our steak. So we'll take our kosher salt and just sprinkle it all over. You wanna get all sides. Now we're gonna leave it out for 30 minutes to an hour until it comes up to room temperature. Now we're gonna make enough sauce for about 2 10 to 12 ounce ribeyes or 4 6 to 8 ounce filet mignons. Obviously we're not cooking that much steak today because A5 Wagyu is super rich, like you really only need about 1 to 2 ounces of it. So if you wanna make this with a different cut, not A5, then this is enough sauce for quite a bit of meat. But you do want to probably like double the amount of peppercorns that you're using. So use about 2 tablespoons instead. So now we're going to pour our peppercorns into our mortar. And we're going to coarsely ground these. You don't want a fine powder, you want them pretty big chunks, otherwise your pepper is going to burn. Go ahead and grind it up. So now we'll pour these out onto a plate. So as you can see, there's some bigger chunks. It's not super finely ground. All right, so our steak has come up to room temperature. As you can see, there's some moisture that was extracted from it due to the salt. So we're going to pat it off again. You wanna make sure you get all that moisture off, otherwise you're not gonna get a good sear on your steak. All right, now we're gonna take our steak and we're just gonna press it in to these peppercorns. You want a nice coating of the peppercorns like that. All right, so now normally we cook right here, but if you've seen any of the A5 series, like my Kobe beef, you know that it smokes so much and we don't want to set off the fire alarm again. So we're gonna move to the back stove. All right, so our pan has been heating up. It's ready. Again, if you don't have A5 Japanese Wagyu, just regular steak, put some canola oil in here. But we're gonna grease it with our A5 fat. This just helps the steak release. All right, we're gonna add our steak. So for this steak, we're just searing it like 90 seconds per side. It doesn't need much. Got a nice sear on that. Make sure you get all sides of the steak. And then you want to cook it to about 5 degrees under what your desired temperature. So if you want medium rare, cook it to about 125 to 130. While our steak rests, we're going to make our sauce now. You want to get rid of the excess oil, but make sure you don't wipe out the fond stuck on bits in the pan, because that's going to be the base and all the flavor in our sauce. So now we're using in our sauce brandy. Traditionally, in the classic French dish, you're gonna use cognac. Cognac is a type of brandy that comes from France. This is American brandy. Actual cognac is pretty expensive here in the United States, so we're going with American today, but it'll be fine. All right, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of our brandy. Now, I am going to ignite it and flambe it, but you can just let it simmer off if you want. So pour in 1/3 cup. Go ahead and tilt the pan and just let the flame die down. All right, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of our beef stock. And And we're gonna let this reduce by half. So let it simmer until it's about half what you started with. All right, we're going to add in 3/4 cup of our heavy cream. We're gonna let that reduce. All right, so our sauce has reduced, and you can see when you put a spoon in it, it coats the back of the spoon like that. That is the consistency that you want. So now we have to season this with a little bit of salt. Remember, there's no salt in this yet. So put some salt. Did I spill it on myself? All right, I need a little bit more salt. Okay, let's taste it again. That is good. All right, now since we want it just to be extra decadent, we're gonna put a tablespoon of butter in there. Just let it melt and stir it in. So you can add some additional pepper into this sauce, but remember that our steak has just that pepper encrusted on it. So there's a lot of pepper on this steak, so I'm gonna keep the pepper out of the sauce. All right, let's slice into our steak. All right, let's drizzle our sauce over it. Oh, that creamy sauce with that juicy steak and spicy pepper. All right, let's try it. This good piece right here. Just cuts through like butter. Oh, look at that beautiful center. A little spicy from the peppercorns that's encrusted on the steak, but that smooth, creamy, buttery sauce just is incredible. Finish the meal with some crunchy potatoes and a glass of red wine or a dirty martini. You'll be in heaven. I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make steak au poivre. The full recipe can be found on my food blog at logomeats.com. I've got new delicious dishes coming out every week, so hit a like and subscribe below. I'll see you guys next time. Hey-do!